In this video, I want to point something out that a lot of the citizens of San Angelo don't realize, or they don't care, one or the other. The ones that do care, they take pride in the fact that San Angelo is the only city in the state of Texas that still elects a chief of police. The city's asked the voters several times in the recent years if we want to continue to elect the chief of police, or do we want the chief of police appointed. The last time the citizens were asked this, I believe it was 73% said they want to continue to elect. I don't understand why the city even asked the voters this, because why would we want to throw away being able to elect the chief of police and allow an appointed city manager to appoint as chief of police? Of course we want to keep electing, but I believe the city council has taken our right to elect chief of police. Let me explain why. Prior to the change of qualifications for chief of police, you had to be 18 years of age and a resident of San Angelo for 2 consecutive years prior to the election. That's it. That's the only qualifications. You didn't have to be a certified police officer when elected. You didn't have to become a certified police officer after elected. Only requirement is you have to become a chief administrator within 1 year after elected. I agree those qualifications are pretty low, but it's been the same qualifications for like 7 decades. It's not until now that they have a problem with it. And I'll tell you why I think they have a problem with it here in a moment. But first, let's look at what they changed the qualifications to. Must be a sworn police officer for at least 10 years, a minimum of 5 years in a supervisory position, master's peace officer certificate, and a bachelor's in criminal justice or 4 years military service. But here's the kicker. You must be a resident of San Angelo for 6 months prior to the election. Face it, San Angelo is no longer the only city in the state of Texas that gets to elect their chief of police. They bumped all the qualifications way up there out of most people, almost everybody's reach, except how long you've been a resident of San Angelo. They dropped that from 2 years to 6 months. That leads me to believe that they have an outsider that they want to be the chief of police. Alan Gilbert, which used to be Judge Alan Gilbert, he is now a member of the city charter committee. He explains the qualifications for chief of police as an issue. I still fail to see where it's an issue. Now let's look back at before the city decided that the qualifications for chief of police was an issue. In 2020, our current chief of police, Frank Carter, was re-elected after the election was canceled. The election was canceled because nobody ran against him. So when his current term ends, Frank Carter is going to retire. In the last election, nobody ran against Frank Carter. The citizens of San Angelo want to continue to elect their chief of police. I see an issue, but it's not the issue with the qualifications of chief of police, depending on how you look at it. Looking at it from the view of the city of San Angelo, including everybody on your screen, the issue that they have with the qualifications is I qualify. For 2.5 to 3 years, I've been making jokes about running for chief of police. Or they started out as jokes, but I started getting a little serious about it. And of course, the city of San Angelo, they couldn't have that. So they fixed it. If you ask me, there shouldn't be any requirements to be chief of police or really the mayor or any public official. I guess they don't trust their constituents to make an educated choice. It was cool while it lasted, but the city of San Angelo is no longer the only city in the state of Texas to elect a chief of police, because the current city administration stole that right from us. Guess it's time to start the repeal process. The next thing they're going to want to amend in the city charter is terms for mayor. Right now you can only serve 8 years, and she's in her second 4-year term. With this video being aimed straight at the locals of San Angelo, I want to give a shout out to What It Do podcast. If you're into listening to podcasts, What It Do is local to San Angelo, and this podcast has like a Joe Rogan feel to it. They talk about all kinds of stuff and they have fun doing it. They invited me on back in September, and I'll put a link to that in the description. Go over and check them out, follow them, and let them know I sent you.